it seemed like it was forever, but it was as long as they could drop their bombs and find targets to strafe. Well, they kept at it, you know, or unless they were shot down in the meantime. So anyway, it was. They, I don't know how. I don't know whether they. I'm not. I don't remember now how many carriers they had, but it's somewhere in these publications here. And, so anyway, the rest of the day was clean up, trying to get some planes repaired enough to get in the air, and there was an old Sikorsky transport there that was they sent a crew out in that. They had little portholes in the windows, and they stuck their 30 caliber rifle out of there. Went out searching for some, but you know they didn't find any ships. So anyway.
Did we get any planes off the ground to
Yes,
fight back?
we didn't there on Fort Highland, I don't think, but the Army Air Corps out at Wheeler Field, and I don't know where they had there was a field. I don't know where Wheeler Field was, but it was out there. And then Schofield Barracks, they had I don't know whether they had a strip there or not, but then they had a satellite field up toward the north part of the island there were some planes there, and I know that's where these two pilots, I think it was P-40 pilots, I guess those were the ones I probably saw in action. There was parachutes came out of one or two of the planes that were shot down. I don't know whether they were ours or the Japanese. But we were right on. I don't know whether there was somewhere in there. There's pictures of the harbor and everything. But we were right on the. Have you ever been out there?
No, it's one of my goals.
No, neither one of us.
When you come in the harbor from the ocean, on the right was there was a Marine Corps had a strip over on the left side of the channel as you came in, and then on the right side was Hickam Field, and I think they had another name for that also. But then the Naval Hospital was on the corner as you came into the harbor. And then we were on the right. You had what they call a battleship row. We call it dry dock channel. The battleships were tied up alongside of Ford Island, and on the other side were the dry docks, the side that the hospital was on. And we, this was, where's one? Pearl Harbor, see where it says, well, this gives a good view of it. Yeah, let's kind of vaguely make out things there, but I don't know whether there's anything. Kaneohe was here. We didn't have blisters on our planes. We just had a hatch there that slid forward, and you cranked it up for a windbreak. These were later versions. We had a PBY 3s, and those are either 4 or 5s. We got those later, and this is a P-40.
Should I turn around for a
Yeah,
minute?
why don't, yes.
He's talking about this plane over here. And you call that,
That
What
was
diff-
probably a blister. That was a 50 caliber on each side, and then there was a 30 caliber that in the tunnel hatch we called it down below. That you open that up, and swing out the gun, and torque it down, and that was a radioman's gun. That never used that. We got caught on the water. Nothing there, thank goodness. So, yeah, that was a PBY 4 or 5 on that one there. So I'm not sure which one. That's P40. It looks like here.
my brother built a bottle of that.
That's what the Army Air Corps were flying. They didn't have an Air Force then. That didn't come until 1947.
So how long did the cleanup last?
Quite a while, but we got things kind of. Well, we didn't. They I don't know what. We were too busy to see what else was going on, so trying to get something flying again.
What you had to do to clean up and to respond, you had to do what you were told. How much were you trained for a lot of those duties that you suddenly had?
Well, I don't know. We just did it. Later on, you know, how the thing works is the officers tell you what needs to be done. The chiefs tell you what to do and how to do it, and the white hats do it.
You just did it, and you just learned some
Yeah.
things.
And well, I made chief in 3.5 years. I was slick sleeve chief. I got one before I got my first hash mark. And the radiomen weren't supposed to do that. They were supposed to have gone through the advanced radio school in Washington, Bellevue in Washington, D.C. But I passed the test, and they let me, they let me put my hat on, but my time for permanent appointment until I had 18 months in as acting appointment.
That was the requirement. You
Yeah.
had to have those 18
You know,
months.
to be sure I could do the job. And so that's what you call slick sleeve chief. You got that before you had your first hash mark. You got a hash mark.
No, that's what I don't know. Explain, before
well,
you had your hash mark, explain
yeah.
that to us non-military people.
Well, every 4 years, the Navy, you got a hash mark on your sleeve.
Like a stripe.
Yeah, horizontal, not a horizontal, but a diagonal stripe there.
Okay.
So I don't know whether they've got.
And you earn hash marks by time in?
Yeah,
Okay.
and you got after 12 years, I think it was, if you had all good conduct, they were changed from red to gold.
So everybody was aware
Yeah.
of where you were
If you had
by your hash marks.
if you had 3 or 4 hash marks and they were still red, you'd have problems along the way somewhere.
Okay. What did you think of that whole system? How did you adapt to the military? I mean, it's got its own, its own world.
But I don't think I had any problem with that. I guess some of the kids that were maybe living in town or something like that, they kind of got in gangs or something or other, so they probably had some rebellion or something, but I was glad to be there and get something to eat and have a place to sleep.